let's talk about the playmaker. You can get mad at him, right? But you will not stay mad at him. I was upset at him about the matchup assignment, and I said, man, he talking a lot of fear talk. But, man, he was telling the truth at the end of the day. The playmaker is the playmaker. And Michael Irvin talked about the disorder, which leads to dysfunction. Let's listen to him right now.
Yes.
It's simple for me. When you look around last week, every team you look at, the stars of the team showed up and played. You can't win in this game if your stars don't show up and play. Dak Prescott, 69 passer rating. Ezekiel Elliott, 31 rushing yards. CD Lamb, 21 yards in reception, one reception for 21 yards. They had the star players playing like role players, and they tried to make a few role players, Schultz and Wilson, play like stars. That was a disorder that brought about a dysfunction, and that's why they got their butts sitting at home on this couch.
He spoke the truth, Cowboy Nation. And you can't get mad at it at all. No, you can't get mad at it. He was speaking the truth. And there's no shade at Schultz. There's no shade at Cedric Wilson. There's none. Now, on one end, you can say, well, the quarterback, he going to get most of the blame because he's the star of the team, right? When you look for win-losses, you look for the quarterback. And he's the only one that record falls on as relates to stat line. The win-losses go to the quarterback. However, when you think about Ezekiel Elliott and no appearance to Amari Cooper, and the way he said it, CD Lamb, that joke said, CD Lamb, yeah, one catch for 21 yards or something like that. Just
CD Lamb.
And the offensive coordinator need to know that. This team collectively heading into the 2022 season, if they going to keep this offensive coordinator, they need to know about those things, Cowboy Nation. And not to beat a dead horse. No, we don't need to beat a dead horse. But collectively speaking, the leader of this team from a coaching aspect, Mike McCarthy, he for sure need to know this. And the nervousness that they talked about, regardless of whether or not every team is nervous, or there should have been a moment right there with Mike McCarthy telling everybody, hey, reel it in. Slow down a little bit. We in this moment, but it's no bigger than the previous moments that we've been in before. Right? Dak, you've been here before. Ezekiel, slow down. You've been here before, right? Amari Cooper, you've been here before. This is not like it's their first playoff game ever, right? So that is what a leader should do. Now, as far as this offense, been on a stale pace for a couple of weeks now and a couple of months, if you really want to go down to details of it. Shout out to Kurt Warner. He spoke about, hey, these are the things that this offense should have done. And check out his interview on 105.3 The Fan, and check out his breakdowns too, right? He's even keel with it, not pointing the finger at blame or what have you. But this team, collectively speaking, must look each other in the eyes and say, okay, how do we propel ourselves for the future? Because at the end of the day, you can't water around in misery. You're going to have to overcome all of this. You do. And how do you do that? Well, the draft is right around the corner. But before you get to the draft, there's free agency that you must assign and pick up the guys, right? Whether you're going to bring Schultz back, whether you're going to say, okay, Cedric Wilson, since they was the two guys that they targeted in this game, you're going to have to come to a conclusion, Cowboy Nation. Jerry Jones, to figure this thing out. Flat out, you're going to have to figure this out, because no one is going to show you mercy. No, believe it or not, the tests get harder for the 2022 season. Now your strength of schedule will be increased. About 1 or 2 games you're going to play the best teams out of their respective conference next year, right? And on top of that, your drafting order is a little different. I think the Cowboys are going to draft around the 24th pick, right? So everything is pushed back when you are pretty much in this spot right here, 12-5. Well, 12-6 if you count the playoff game. So that's just what it is. You're going to have to figure out now. You got Parsons. You met up with Ray, Killer Ray, baby, in Parsons. And I told my guys, hey, Parsons can be a Ray Lewis type if you build around him. So on the defensive side of the coin, you're going to have to look at this thing and say, okay, offense is what it is. But we got one truth that we know for sure, that Parsons is a beast. How do you build around him? Do you pick up 1 or 2 guys in the free agency, right? Or do you make sure in this draft time that you make sure that you get something that can complement him? And not just him as well. You can look at Trayvon Diggs and look into this draft, look into this free agency, and figure out how you can get someone to complement. And for a long time, for the Cowboys, we really never had that complementary piece. Now, as far as the coaching philosophy, if Dan Quinn, it may appear that he's gone, right? Because all of these teams are looking for a coach like Dan Quinn that can change the culture. The Giants reached out to him. Chicago, Broncos, Jaguars, right? Minnesota. Unless Jerry Jones dig deep into his pockets, he's gone. And we can't go back to what the playmaker said. Disorder leads to dysfunction, leads to why you on this couch. So this team gonna have to make sure that everything is in order and within reason. Think about this, Cowboy Nation. Hear me out. All of the stars, like he said, didn't show up. Not some, all of them didn't show up. And he didn't even talk about Amari Cooper. He didn't even talk about the front 5 as it relates to that offensive line. And hear me out, he didn't talk about the fact that they didn't even try to put Tony Pollard in this mix. So there's a lot of dysfunction going on. Now, somebody can argue, literally, and say, man, this dysfunction was going on because of the focus level wasn't there. You know, you get nervous and you get rattled when you feel like you're not qualified for something, right? You feel like the moment is too big for you. But when you study and when you made sure that you put in all that you had and you leave nothing behind, you walk in that thing boldly with grace and mercy. But you walk in there boldly because you knew that you did everything that you're supposed to do. So when it's time to take that test, you take it so quickly. You go in, and normally the test be an hour, sometimes 2 hours long, and you finish that test within 30 minutes. Trust me, I've been down there many of times. But man, you get to shaking when you haven't studied for the test and you don't know the answers on the test. You get nervous, sweat begins to fall down your face because you know for sure, deep down in the hearts of hearts, you didn't study. You don't belong there. The stage is too big for you. And then that's when the dysfunction hits. The disorder, dysfunctions, and all of that other stuff. Cowboy Nation, listen to the playmaker. Get this stuff together. Post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below. Shout out to the playmaker for reeling everything back in. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. Salute.
CD Lamb.